Hello. I'm going to give a talk on how to optimize your unpaid hours as a freelancer. So, first of all, I'm Matt Visiwig, and in 2017, I quit my full-time job of 7 years, and I started a web design business. While I freelanced sporadically on the side, I wasn't quite prepared for full-time self-employment. I knew I would bleed savings, but worse, I depleted my savings. So guess what happens when you find yourself in this position? You question everything, you apply to jobs, and you'll agree to anything to land clients. There's nothing wrong with number one or number two, right? We're all human. But number three is the worst situation for a freelancer. You don't want to take on bad clients just because you need the money. I'm speaking from experience. Agreeing to awful projects with bad terms will only make you more desperate. The good news is you can put yourself into a better position. I ended up digging myself out of this situation, and I'm still freelancing today. But it all came down to how I used my unpaid time. Just because I wasn't pulling in money doesn't mean I wasn't making good use of my time. I set myself up for a better future. I no longer start at $0 revenue each month. A quiet month no longer phases me. When I get offered less than ideal work, it's easy to turn down because if I don't have work, I still know I'll be fine for a little bit. Let's take a step back and look at the big picture. So it's great to think about where you want to end up, bigger money or the flexibility to be your own boss. But the reality is, if nothing is working for you in the short term, you're not going to last in the long term. So first things first, 100% of your energy when you're starting out should be to get momentum in the short term. We're trying to get busy. So let's get busy. Because when you're busy, you can raise prices without fear of losing additional work. When you're busy, you can be choosy about what projects you accept, knowing that you have other inquiries. The lesson here is having a full schedule gives you power. It just makes you instantly better at negotiating. Why? Because when you're busy and have options, it no longer makes sense to lower your rates or accept red flag clients. So, you're about to watch a negotiating masterclass. Check it out.
We are prepared to make you a very generous offer.
And we are prepared to reject that offer.
So in this situation, it's really powerful to be like Michael Scott in this situation. He's on the right. He's just ready to reject the offer. He doesn't need it. He doesn't even need to hear it. And when you're like this, when you can't be haggled down, you get to set the terms. So if there's one takeaway from my talk, it's this. Having a full schedule gives you negotiating power. But what do you do when you aren't busy? Well, you work hard to fill your schedule. That simple act will improve your chance at success. That's easy, right? All you have to do is land more clients. Okay, landing clients isn't easy, but you don't need to rely on landing client work to fill your schedule. So when we think about filling your schedule in the short term, the two easiest options are getting work through a staffing agency or holding a part-time job. In both cases, you're trading a portion of your workable hours for money. This removes the risk and stress of jumping all in without any clients whatsoever. Who would do that? The big plus of a staffing agency is that they can find you relevant work and clients on your behalf. Online job boards like Fiverr and Upwork can be a bit controversial, and let me explain why I'm not a fan. For one, you'll face high competition. The internet makes a post available far and wide, which is good for the client, not so much you as the applicant. And two, not all platforms protect freelancers. So if you get into a dispute with a client, you don't want a biased third party involved who can and will lock you out of earnings or worse, your source of work. So while I don't recommend online job boards, I'm not here to shame or judge you. As long as you fill your schedule, you're better off. Speeding up your unpaid administrative work saves time and creates a better flow with clients. This includes communication, bookkeeping, contracts, etc. As business picks up, you may notice something taking longer than it should. Improve that. Typically, marketing and sales efforts by new freelancers use short-term strategies. That's great. You should try various ways to attract clients now, and then double down on things that work. But once you get things going, you should also think long-term, investing in yourself now to make your job easier later. And that brings us to long-term strategies. As freelancers, serving clients one by one just doesn't scale. You can hire employees and grow your business, but you're still going to run into limitations. Long-term strategies are about figuring out how to scale. And you'll never be able to scale unless you build your internet presence. By building and nurturing an audience through your website, newsletter, blog, or social media, you create opportunities, earn a bigger reach, and you build credibility. This audience that you're building is super useful for nearly anything you do in the future. Which brings us to building your own product. When serving a client, you get paid once for completing an objective. That doesn't scale. By making a product, you can earn over and over again from many customers. While you don't get income instantly, over time you can earn multiples from your initial effort. So quick review. First, you should make a short-term play to fill your schedule now. This will help you transition from your first few clients into going full-time. When you take on clients, your workload's naturally going to fluctuate. Fill that unpaid downtime with long-term strategies to make life easier over time. We're going to put all the long-term strategies into a single bucket. We're going to call it Build a Product. I'm sure some of you are itching to build something and others don't know where to start. So put on your hard hat and let's go. So what makes a good product idea? Well, here's some important boxes to check off. Your product should create value for a customer, whether it saves time, saves money, or overcomes a challenge. But it's also important to consider the magnitude of the value you're providing. You want to create a high level of value. If your customer barely notices the problem, they won't look for a solution. If the customer feels the problem, they're going to seek a solution. And finally, if they feel hopeless, they're going to just throw money to make the pain go away. So the bigger the problem, the more customers will spend. But money isn't the only consideration. Your product should be aligned with your interests and skills. If you're bored by your industry or customers, you're going to struggle with your project, to stick with it at least. As long as you have some interest, you're going to find the energy you'll need to spend time on it. And the more enthusiastic you are about your craft, the better. To a certain point. So the best way to keep interest in a project is to keep it moving along and get it published quick. If your project will take a year to develop, it might not see the light of day. So instead, start small, get feedback as soon as possible, and so you can learn and adjust your focus. By launching small, you also can launch multiple projects. Just know then you'll know which product has the highest chance for success. A low maintenance product doesn't require your time after the sale. On the opposite side of that spectrum, while a high maintenance, support product requires bug fixes, security patches, support tickets, etc. So low maintenance is obviously better, but no matter how simple and good your product is, you're going to end up with a customer who needs help. I just guarantee it. So how do you pick a product to make? The most important aspect of coming up with ideas is identifying a problem to solve. You want to identify a common problem your audience or clients face. I solved the problem I had myself when I couldn't find enough information on something I Googled. I dug deeper, researched, experimented, and then I ended up building a whole website. By solving a problem I had, other web designers just like me found my site useful. So let's get some inspiration by looking at some other popular products and models. So my favorite low maintenance product to create is digital downloads, or putting something behind a paywall. You create it once and then you stand to earn through sales for a long, long time. A few ideas. You could build a course, make a book, design assets, take photographs, build an app, make video games, create templates. Templates could be like HTML templates or a PowerPoint presentation. If you can figure out a way to digitize value, you have something to sell. If you can solve a recurring problem, you can earn recurring revenue. There's two models. SaaS, which means software as a service. This could be anything from this could be small as a WordPress plugin where you solve one really small problem, or could be big as a marketing automation platform. In SaaS, I'd always personally choose business to business over business to customer, as businesses don't hesitate to spend money to solve problems. Another model is product as a service. And this is really attractive when you're freelancing. You have a customer pay monthly. So for instance, graphic designers could offer an unlimited design service for $1,000 a month. Web designers could upsell a maintenance plan after they launch their client's website. Writers could offer a monthly search engine optimization service by writing a few blog posts every month. So while these models are attractive, does that kind of look like a magnet? That's what I was going for. Recurring models require long-term thinking and often more dedication because of that. Unlike digital models, creating an arts and crafts shop is a bit more manual, but some of the process can be automated away. And you can run this out of your home. So it's still a fairly reasonable model and some of you might find it interesting. So some ideas is you can sell artwork, or customize gifts, or games and toys. If you want more inspiration, just head over to Etsy.com. There's plenty there. With content creation, you need an absurd amount of views to earn decent money from ads. And it takes time to get popular enough to warrant sponsorships. However, when you pair content creation with your own products, you have a better earning potential. For instance, if you create a bunch of tutorials on how to use Figma, you're going to be attracting an audience that might be interested in your upcoming Figma course. Without an audience finding your product, you're going to have trouble making money. That's why content creation should be part of your strategy rather than its own isolated product. So let's review everything I talked about today. If I had to start all over again, here's what I would do. First, I would make a short-term play to fill my hours. I set out to land a part-time job for about 20 hours or so. This way there's less risk and it will help me transition from 0 clients to a full schedule a lot quicker. I'm also going to make a long-term play, so freelancing gets easier over time. If I find a period without client work, I'm going to spend time building a product or my internet presence. What am I going to build? Well, so I look out to solve a problem for my audience, especially somewhere where I already hang, like web design forums or with other makers. So I'm just going to keep my ears open for common problems they're asking about, or something I run into myself. And during this time, I'm just jotting ideas down, building a list. And then from that list, I'm going to choose something small to build, probably build a few digital goods over time until I find something that resonates. And then I'm just going to double down on that best-selling product. At least that's what I would do. So hopefully I sparked an idea or two on how to optimize your unpaid hours. If so, I'd love to hear about it. Connect with me on Twitter @MattVisiwig, or subscribe to my brand new YouTube channel to encourage me to make more talks like this. And I didn't sell a single thing during my talk, but if you're curious, I'm not going to stop you from checking out my product, svgbackgrounds.com. Lastly, if you want to meet other product builders, check out indiehackers.com. I'm not affiliated in any way, but I just think it's a great place to learn and ask questions. It's invite only. I have a few invites, so hit me up if you're interested. I guess that's it. So thank you very much. I guess we're open for questions, or just write them in the comments. Thanks, Matt Visiwig.